Hello, welcome to a Varsity Sports Update, talking high school hoops with Jason Andera and Jandy. We're what, almost halfway through the high school season?
Very close to the halfway point. I think most teams have 8, 9 games under their belt, and about 10 games is the halfway point. And
there's still some teams rolling that are unbeaten so far, have not lost a game. Let's take a look at the boys' list first. There are 8 of them: Groton, Sioux Valley, St. Thomas More. You got Viborg-Hurley still unbeaten. White River, one of the familiar names that's usually unbeaten at this point in the season. Who's surprising out of that list right now?
I think the most surprising for me right now is White River, because they lost so many players to Crow Creek who decided to transfer, and people thought, oh, maybe they would be down a little bit. They rolled right through the LNI, no problem whatsoever. They've played 3 teams above 500, have had no problem there. But I also think Groton is another team that's super surprising. Last year they were 8-14, and they're off to an undefeated start, including a Tuesday night win over our ranked team in Aberdeen Christian.
Who's one team that might be on the verge of going down, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of teams, but the Rapid City Christian Comets, they haven't played a real tough opponents yet. I think they're one that has to watch. They've got Harding County coming up, and then they've got Madison just this week. I think one of those 2 games probably won't go their way.
One of them might go all the way and go undefeated in the regular season. Who do you think?
You know, I really tried to figure out, do any teams have a chance to go all the way? We know in AA, all those teams are already out. We know that White River, Viborg-Hurley, and St. Thomas More are all title contenders, but St. Thomas More still has to play Yankton. Viborg-Hurley is going to be in the Hanson Classic as well as the DWU Classic coming up, and White River, same thing for them, and they're in a couple classics. It's really hard to go the whole season undefeated, but if I had to pick one team, I would say Viborg-Hurley right now has the best shot of doing that.
All right, a couple more girls teams, 11 girls teams unbeaten right now, including a couple, 3 as a matter of fact, in the biggest class in AA, O'Gorman, Stevens, and Harrisburg. And then you got Lennox in there in Class A, Winter, St. Thomas More, on down to DeSmet, Ethan, and Corsica-Stickney. What do you think about these right now? Anybody that's surprisingly undefeated right now on the girls' side?
Well, going into the season, we probably thought Stevens, with the way their schedule started out, would be undefeated. O'Gorman, we're not shocked because they're so good. Harrisburg, though, I don't think anybody called this start for Harrisburg. Tuesday night, huge win over Washington. When I say huge, huge confidence-wise and a huge margin. They really stepped up their game. And then how about Langford? They've improved their team now 4 years in a row, and this year they've started out undefeated. And they've got 5 wins over teams over 500 right now. I think they are the team that probably isn't getting enough recognition right now.
Back up in AA, O'Gorman, they look really good. Can they go undefeated? Maybe.
You know,
haven't played Harrisburg
anytime
yet.
You talk about a AA team, and it's really hard to predict them as an undefeated team. They've got Rapid City Stevens coming up next weekend. That's going to be a very difficult game. They do have Harrisburg coming up after that, the week after that. And then it's AA basketball. Anybody that rolls in your way when you don't have a good shooting night, especially with a team like O'Gorman who only really rotates about 7 players, I mean, something's going to go wrong some night during the season.
The weekly planner, Jandy, the games that you're looking forward to in the next 7 days here. You got one boys game on the list, and that's O'Gorman at Huron.
And that's going to be a fantastic game. And as you can see, just a 52% chance to win for Huron, and they're at home. But most of these games are kind of pick 'em games. The Hanson Classic games are those 4 games that you see to the right coming up on Saturday. And I think the games will get better and better as the night goes on, with the nightcap between Winter and Lennox. Both teams getting first place votes right now in the media poll, and it's a toss-up.
That Saturday game, Winter and Lennox on the girls' side, a couple of the most well-known players in the state, with Swedlund at Winter and Blastian at Lennox, right?
Yeah, very well-known players, but Rio Philippi is having an outstanding season. Probably the best point guard, pure point guard in Class A right now for Lennox. And for Winter, they rely on one of their very few seniors, Morgan Hammerbeck, who's just a great overall athlete. So, yeah, we're going to go beyond the stars. Some very good stars, but they're great supporting cast around them.
All right, check out Jason Andera on Twitter and social media for all the rundown for those games coming up in the next week.